Okay, y'all, I think this is the first week after the integration in the chicken tractor on steroids, where we made the transition from a meat system to really, I called it an egg system, but it's really both. Because honestly, I can, as long as I want, I can sit here and extract the protein out of this system in the form of these birds and then replace them whenever I want. I can always incubate eggs, I can get a broody hen, I can go any number of ways. But the cool thing about the process that it's in right now is that I could easily, let's say every 16 weeks, okay? I could take certain chickens out that may be disruptive, or maybe I just need meat in the freezer. And I could also have eggs in the incubator already out. You know, I could think this thing out way ahead of time, integrate the new chicks into this system. Folks, this is the beauty about what we're doing here, because this system, and I hope more and more people get onto it. And in fact, in the coming months, I suspect a lot more will probably see the value of it. But this is exactly what we're trying to evangelize here, y'all. This is a one-stop shop system. All this magnificent compost, 3 different piles. We're putting out a pile every single week that can be used, you know, right across our little driveway here in the orchard. It can be used in the garden beds. It can be used any number of places and possibilities. I mean, it's never ending. We showed you how to make potting soil a while back. There's so much you can do with this stuff, and it's going to be light years better than anything you can buy. Once again, because the microbes on your property are almost certainly different than the microbes in the place where you're buying your compost from. So that is the value of buying it here. We want to keep everything on site if we possibly can. So where are we at? I think we're going to ease up on the updates unless people are really asking for it, because at this point it's starting to become repetitive, and I don't want to bore anybody, especially when we got mountains of other things that we can be showing you on these videos. So if somebody feels like this is beneficial to you and yet you want us to keep going, let us know and we'll do updates. But essentially at this point, it's early morning, it's that day that we typically move all the piles. So what's going to happen, we'll straighten up these piles a little bit. Chickens got let out before we intended, but it's not a big deal. We'll straighten these piles up, and that net, this is finished by and large, is going to go right here. We're going to take the pile that's in the cage, turn it out, and move the whole system that way. Now, like I said last week, it's getting to the point where we're going to have to figure out what we want to do exactly in this landscape. Do we want to keep going over the hill and keep going? Do we want to turn? But honestly, we cannot produce enough compost, especially in the stages we are right now, where we got emerging food forests, emerging orchards. We're putting in orchards all over this place. There's a big plan here. That's really what it is in a nutshell. And also, let's walk down this way. What we got going, of course, compost pile that's been spread out. We got to bring it back together. Same thing here. Here's the one that had that silvergrass in it. And I expressed concerns about it before, but it looks like it's breaking down just nice now. It's clumpy, it's tough, it's hard. It's going to take a little bit more in terms of turning it, but it's still doing just fine. Now, even in their compost cage down here, we haven't yet fed them, so they're like, okay, dude, we already got this stuff out of the pile. When are you going to flip it? Okay, everything, because we're on an incline, you can see most of it's kind of cheated down that way. We could have put considerably more material in here, but we didn't. Now, it's got a combination of that silvergrass, got a little bit of the straw. We're getting away from buying that stuff completely. We're using that silvergrass as bedding because, you know, we got it here. And it almost acts like a straw in many ways. So really, folks, that's it in a nutshell. So all we're going to do, we're going to turn these piles, we're going to move this system that way, and keep on trucking through the landscape. That's really it in a nutshell. Hey, look at my little puppy here. He loves compost too, and he's helping. Anyway, while Milk Boy's out here doing his thing, Milk Boy, you gotta say it right. Anyway, we got the piles turned on the inside. We still gotta do the compost cage. Go back, check that out if you need some instruction on that. But this is the pile right here, this one under the tarp that we treated like an 18-day compost pile. I'll go ahead and uncover it so you can kind of take a look at it. This is where we put all of the stuff that we got, all the feathers, all the guts, all the things we didn't want to eat or put in the freezer. We put into this pile. Let's take a quick look at it. And like I said, if you need instruction, go back and watch our playlist on the 18-day compost pile. That's what we're doing with this. So we got two piles basically in here. And it's kind of smoking right now, as you can see. But this is looking fantastic. This is exactly what we want. So I think we're in like our third flip now. It's looking good. So all we're going to do is take it, we're going to roll it downhill, and we're going to keep going until we don't see the steam, you know. But that's pretty much it, y'all. This is going to be, with those chicken guts and the blood and everything else in there, I guarantee you, this will be the best compost we produce. Every time we put some kind of animal, I mean, there's pig manure, there's chicken manure, there's guts, there's feathers, there's all those things that are now, we didn't waste anything, y'all. That's important. It goes right back to the land, right back to the earth. We don't waste anything. So we're going to go ahead and get on this, flip it downhill. So everything's pretty much done. All the piles are flipped. Everything's good. The chickens are happy. In fact, they're so happy, y'all. I'm not even going to feed them today. Normally, if anybody's new, I put all their feed usually in this compost cage on top of the material. So we've taken the bedding out of the inside, the old bedding, which, by the way, in this tractor, we're switching it out twice a week instead of just once a week because they're a little tighter in there, and I'm not going to have any animal of mine living in filthy conditions. So that brings me to what happens. We take that stuff out of here, we put it in here. Now, what do I have in these two trash bags? We got one that is part of the bedding. We got these baby pigs up there, and of course, you know, they need attention. I can go ahead and keep dumping their stuff on top, but why? We're gonna be tearing that barn down here before too long anyhow. So we got pig poop along with straw right here. We're gonna put that in first. You can even see some of that poop in there. So I can kind of, oh shoot, if I don't break a hip here, I'm gonna kick it around. And because I'm on the slant, I always try to cheat the material on the top hill side, on the uphill side, because chickens generally want to scratch downhill. So, yeah, what are you doing in there, little naked neck? So I'm gonna put that in here. Okay, so this other one is that silvergrass Justin got for us up the hill when he was doing all that digging. He used his bucket with little pinchers on it, but that stuff is long. We're talking sometimes 6 to 8 feet long. So, yeah, don't hold this against me, but I'm like, man, we can't possibly, it's a nightmare to try to flip that stuff in a compost cage. So them big piles of silvergrass, I basically took an old chain, put it on my Husqvarna, and ran down through it. And so it made this stuff a little more manageable like it was in that last pile. So that's what's in here. We got silvergrass mixed with a little bit of soil that was in it. Now, here's straw, kind of airy. Here's that silvergrass, a little bit chopped up. It's a thick kind of stalk. Now, folks, think about the other things you can put in your compost. Before, we've talked about all the things we've used before. Things like, and we will put some in here, but there's already some in it. As far as biochar, we put some of that in there. There's eggshells galore. We'll add that at least once a week, and it'll compost down. really good stuff. But also, one of our viewers gave us this idea a while ago. I can't believe I didn't think of it. Every single day, y'all, I mean, we have loads of this stuff. Every single day, we make compost tea, and we pour it out every single day. Whole host of benefits. Now, this is fungal dominant compost tea, which is by and large the majority of what I make. We can make bacterial dominant, but 9 times out of 10, it's fungal dominant for us. Well, one viewer said, hey, why don't you put that on your piles? Well, guess what? It'll work as a starter, so why not put it on the pile? Michelle's over there now, getting ready to take one of them buckets. Honey, you don't have to wait on me.
I've already done it.
Oh, I got you. So every morning we put out about 20 gallons of compost tea. We got a video on that if you want to check it out. So right here on all the piles before me, we got some, and then we're going to put this in here. And then you can see the leftover compost. Like I said, there's a recipe that we use for that, and it works extremely well. So well, in fact, that I'm going to do a video, if it works out, of all these trees that were near dead and how we're bringing them back with compost tea. But that's it in a nutshell, y'all. There's manure you can put in here. The chickens, when we feed them, they're going to sit in here, they're going to eat it, they're going to manure. Whatever they don't have, it's going to be a nitrogen layer. And for those of you that are new, every single night, at the end of every day, we're going to come back and we're going to dump another, after they've eaten what they want, and the leftover food and their chicken excrement here in this cage, we're going to cover it up every single day till it's time to do this whole process again at the end of next week. Folks, I can't overstate it enough. This, if somebody wants to call me on it, bring your evidence, because I got it. I'm telling you, this is without a doubt the best chicken and composting producing system on the planet. Whether it's for your meat, whether it's for your eggs, this system has it all. Look, I don't make anything out of telling y'all this. I just am well aware of the times we live in and realize that this is a way to hedge your expenses when all these food costs and these feed costs are going through the roof. You're not making money doing things the traditional way. If you're going out there buying feed for your eggs or buying feed for your meat birds, you're not saving a single dime. The only thing you're doing is having at least peace of mind of knowing that your birds were raised right. And that in and of itself is sufficient. That is great. But if you want to get ahead of the curve, folks, this is the best system on the planet for that. If you can't do it yourself, employ help. Do whatever you have to do. Look, folks, I can wax philosophically about this all day long, but I won't, because you got other things you need to do instead of watching me. So remember, subscribe, tell your friends about us. Remember, we got that Back to the Land Festival coming up in October. Also, remember, we got bone sauce that will be back on the website here before long. You can get it there at permapasturesfarm.com. We also got comfrey. Here before long, we're going to have some of this bomb pimp drip honey. So until next time, y'all, this is Billy, the Permaculture Pimp Daddy, where pimp stands for permaculture is my passion, because it is. And this here is the reason why. We'll see y'all next time.